Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Get early access to all of our interviews, including the monthly Chichester chats with writer and comic book legend D.G. Chichester, new episodes of classic Capes and Lunatics shows, including The Quantum Zone, This, That, or the Third, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes, or go to patreon.com/CapesandLunatics. Hope to see you there.
This is Jeremy Adams, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
In brightest day,
in blackest nights,
no evil shall escape my sight.
But those who worship evil's might,
beware my power.
Green Lantern's light. Hello and welcome back to Sector 2814, the Green Lantern podcast. I am Phil. Joining me, as always, the happiest man on the face of the earth at this moment. It is...
I will. Hey, everyone.
That's right, because, yes, we're finally here. The one I've been promising him since day one. Yes, Green Lantern Rebirth. The triumphant return of Hal Jordan.
Why is that important, Phil?
Because, of course, you love Hal Jordan, your favorite character.
Oh, yeah. So I think I certainly gave you a chuckle when I turned on the camera, right, earlier.
Oh yes,
I had my beanie on, I had my Hal Jordan, I had my lantern in my hand, and then I got a drink of water.
Yes, kids, he was decked out all in Hal Jordan. So, all right, all right. You know, we're not discussing anything else tonight, right?
Yeah, I pretty much know that's
yeah.
it.
So when you first read this, you read it, did you read this when it was brand new, I'm assuming?
Oh yeah, I read it when it was coming out.
I assumed, yeah. So how giddy were you back then when it was first coming out?
Well, you know, it was different because, you know, you had no idea what was going to happen. You know, it was there wasn't a rebirth. You know, what does that mean? You know, they're bringing Hal Jordan back. How, you know, is it going to go? What is that going to be? But I mean, and this thing it's paced very well. It was, I think, originally 5 issues, but then they made it 6. I think due to the success or due to more story. I'm not quite sure why, but it's a total of 6 issues at this point. The great thing about the Absolute Edition is, that's really great. Is that it has the plot, which was from January, I think, of 2004. And then they had a script for number 1, I think, that they reprint in here, which may also be reprinted in the hardcover of just a Rebirth hardcover, you know, normal size hardcover. But and we were talking about this earlier. You know, Rebirth, the story, issue 1 went to 4 printings. It was also brought back as $1. The DC did that dollar comic thing.
Yep.
Yeah, so they reprinted it then as well. They collected it in a trade, a hardcover, the Jeff Johns Omnibus 3. I've got them covered up. They're right back there. Jeff Johns trades, you know, his Green Lantern work. And then, I think Rebirth the story, just the first issue, is reprinted in the 75th anniversary Green Lantern stuff. Not the 80 years of I think it was the 75th. I'd have to look that up. But it has been reprinted once or twice.
So love him or hate him, kids, you knew Hal Jordan was back.
Yep, exactly. Absolutely.
I was going to say, should we dive into the 6 issues? Because I know you have thoughts, and it's been a long time, kids, but we have feedback from Ray that we'll play at the end, because I'm sure he'll want to focus on a moment at the end, towards the end of the last issue. So,
is that in issue 6 or 5?
That'll be issue 6. Because because beware, kids, lurking within these pages.
Batman, my favorite character.
Absolutely.
Of course.
So Phil.
Yes.
Did you read this when it came out?
Yes, I did. I was excited for this when it came out. I can just I can't even imagine your level of excitement.
I was just talking to one of the boys, and he said, "You know, Dad, I think Green Lantern Rebirth was the first Green Lantern story I ever read." And I said,
Of course, I made sure it was.
Father of the Year.
I made sure it was. What do you think? I was going to give you oregano? No, give you a Green Lantern Rebirth.
That's right. No oregano for you.
I think I was going to give you an issue with Guy Gardner. No, I was going to give you Rebirth.
Not the Third Law. Not Dark Stars. No. Not Emerald Twilight.
Oh my God! Nothing Green Lantern, but I saw the funniest thing on Twitter just a little bit ago. Hold on, I'll just pull it back up just to make sure. But I'm pretty sure I have the wording of it. But I've talked to this man a couple times, Mr. Fabian Nisaiza.
Yep.
He quote tweeted someone. Some woman wrote, "Have you experienced a natural disaster firsthand?" Fabian writes, "I wrote NFL Super Pro. Does that count?"
That is awesome.
Taking credit for his crimes.
Taking credit. That's
I'm
right.
just like, we've made fun of it enough. I read that. I'm like, oh my God. That was the best comeback I've ever heard.
That's pretty epic. Pretty epic.
All right, I do it. There are synopses, believe it or not. Will, would you like me to read the first one?
Rock on, sir. Rock on.
All right, Green Lantern Rebirth #1 from December 2004. Blackest Night. Writer Jeff Johns. Penciler and inker Ethan Van Sciver. Colorist Moose Bauman, letterer Rob Lee, and editors Peter Tomasi and Stephen Wacker. A spaceship flies out of the sun and crashes on Earth near an abandoned military base. Two hitchhikers are nearby and they find Cal Rayner. He is unwilling to use his ring and passes out, only saying, "It has a name." But yay, Cal's still here.
Yeah.
At Ferris Aircraft, Carol Ferris is talking to her husband Gil on the phone. The property is still for sale, and Carol has been visiting it a lot lately. Suddenly, Carol becomes surprised when she sees one of the planes, and she ends the conversation with her husband. The plane is one that used to be flown by Hal Jordan. In New York, Jon Stewart and Guy Gardner go to a baseball game, intending to meet with Hal Jordan. Guy doubts he'll show, saying that he's technically dead, but Hal does show. Hal tries to enjoy himself, but suddenly people around him begin confessing their sins. Even Guy admits to lying on his taxes. Hal realizes that he can never rest and leaves. After the game, John and Guy enjoy a drink at Warriors, talking about Jordan. John still defends him, and while Guy says that Hal did a lot of terrible things, he admits that if anything had happened to Guy, Hal would have been there. Suddenly, Guy begins to lose control of his powers and shoots John, causing the bar to explode. See? Remember, kids, don't Voldarian and drive.
Exactly.
Or drink, or is that drinking Voldarian? I don't know. In Star City, Green Arrow and Speedy are preparing to go on patrol when Blackhand blasts his way into Arrow's home and enters his training room. Blackhand opens a small box containing what he was looking for, a Green Lantern ring. Arrow shoots Blackhand in the hand. Hal Jordan appears and transforms into the Spectre. He causes Blackhand's hand to turn to cool and shatter. As he fades away, Hal tells Arrow that something feels wrong. Arrow picks up the ring, saying Hal gave it to him in the event of an emergency. He believes this situation qualifies. Elsewhere, a plane flies over the remains of Coast City, seeing that the city's roads have been rebuilt, along with one building. Meanwhile, at Belle Reve, Hector Hammond has just reduced one of his prison guards to madness and is aware that Cal Rayner has brought something back from his trip in space. On the JLA watchtower, Dr. Midnight and the Martian Manhunter discover that Guy's organs are rejecting themselves. Wonder Woman, helping the Justice Society, finds that a single statue of Hal Jordan is all that survived. This causes Alan Scott to worry that Hal will be unfairly blamed. Flash and Aquaman are investigating the Coast City reports and discover that the building is Hal Jordan's old apartment building. This is more than enough evidence for Batman, who believes that Jordan's reform was all part of a bigger plan to acquire more power.
Batman, my favorite character.
You're going to pay for that feedback, right? John lashes out at Batman verbally, saying that Batman's disrespect of Hal was not because of anything he did, but because Hal was the man without fear, which means Batman has no power over him. As Superman tries to calm John down, Green Arrow arrives and explains what happened at his place. This news only reinforces Batman's suspicions. At Ferris Aircraft, it has started to rain, and Carol was lost in thought by Jordan's old plane. Suddenly, the plane snaps into perfect working condition, along with the other planes and the buildings. As Carol looks around, she sees Hal Jordan. And she says, "Where's your niece?"
So much goodness in this issue.
I know, it's only the first issue.
Uh-huh. I love the fact that in Warriors, if you look in the background, Guy's statue is larger than everybody else's.
Of
you
course.
notice that?
Of course.
I mean, even bigger than Kilowog's. And I hadn't realized it, but until John kind of goes, enough, and stands up to Batman. Batman is just shown in complete black. He's not shown. He's shown as a shadow.
Yep.
Until John and his ring, illuminates him, and you see he's actually a man, at that point, which I thought was really cool. But yeah, this has got a great start. Absolutely.
Guy's organs rejecting him.
Yeah, I mean, I love it when Green Arrow comes up. Good God, is that Mess Gardner?
What did you think about Hal leaving Oliver that ring?
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that's that. It's there's right before the end of the issue, Batman's this is strike 3. Face facts: the real Hal Jordan is back. Okay, now he means that in a totally different way than what it actually means, which we'll see at the end. And he's bringing his past with it. I mean, there's just so many really good things in here, and you see that Alan Scott is he's got a fever or something. It's Parallax trying to get at him, but his ring is different and his power is different, so he can't affect him like he can the others. But
if only he was a wood entity.
Yes. But one of the things I did want to mention is there were four pages. 1, 2, 3, 5 pages. 6 pages printed in Wizard, the Guide to Comics. I think it was number 155.
Okay.
That had Kyle hearing some aliens, out at the edge of the universe saying, Parallax is coming. And then you get 4 pages with Hal and Parallax and the Spectre that kind of act as a bit of a prelude. And those are included in hardcover trade and all of the other collections as well. So, but yeah, this was an excellent way to start it. And the cover to number 1. What do you think of that cover?
Which one? Because there's 2. There's him as the the one is the Spectre, and then there's one. There's one with him who as just regular Hal Jordan, Green Lantern holding the battery. Yeah,
I think the one with the Spectre, and then you see Crazed Parallax in the reflection.
Oh,
that would
yeah,
have been awesome. Would that not have been the perfect glow in the dark cover?
Oh yeah. Oh, there's even a black and I guess there was a black and white version of that too.
Mm-hmm. Yep, one of the reprints, I think. Second or third printing of it. Yep, an excellent start. Excellent start.
All right, you ready for more?
Oh, yeah.
Are you ready for more? All right, kids. Green Lantern Rebirth number 2 from January 2005. Enemies Within. I was going to say same team, but Prentice Rollins takes it over as the inking.
Oh, okay.
Ethan is just on pencils this time.
Mm-hmm. And it also has a great cover with Hal, hands bloody and the dead core members.
Yep.
Floating around. Yep.
All right. At the Citadel on Oa, an object covered in green energy flies out and away from the planet with a single mission: find Kal Rayner. On Earth, Kal tries to repeat his warning that it has a name, but he passes out again, and his ring begins to speak on a loop. Parallax is coming. Finally, that damn ring talks.
Yes.
At Ferris Aircraft, Carol Ferris stands before Hal Jordan. She asks if he's responsible for fixing the airfield, but Hal asks if she remembers when they first met. She assumes that he's talking about her first week on the job, noting that among all the men, he was the only one not intimidated by the boss's daughter, and in fact flirted with her. Hal, however, is referring to the real first time they met, when they were just children. The day Martin Jordan crashed. He and Carol were just children and were watching the flight. Hal was holding his father's jacket, hoping to one day wear it right, as his father always did. So the first time we see that was Emerald Dawn, right? The
jacket.
Well, I mean that whole sequence. That whole
the
sequence.
Flash, yeah. Which is weird because I had not remembered that's this is John's going back and I'm going to take some of this and take some of that. That was, I believe, an addition either by Keith Giffen or the writer who shall not be named. For Emerald Twilight, because I think Giffen was listed. Was it Giffen on Emerald Dawn? Emerald Dawn, not Emerald Twilight. Yeah. I'd have to look it up, but I think he was the original plotter and writer of that first issue. So I don't know. I'll check on that in a minute.
Hal remarks that his father crashing had been his worst fear, and after that, there was nothing left to be afraid of.
Except Parallax.
Exactly. It was never a topic of discussion when they were together, and why Carol's father initially kept Hal in the simulators. Hal understands that his father's death tore Carl Ferris up inside and explains to Carol that he needs to find his way back to being who he was. On the Justice League Watchtower, John Stewart asks where Green Arrow got the ring. Arrow says that Hal gave it to him on their days traveling together without the Guardian's knowledge. John offers to charge it, but Green Arrow doubts he could get it to work. Zatanna has located Hal Jordan's soul, saying that it's at Ferris Aircraft. Superman decides that the Justice League should go and talk to Hal and insist that's all they want, but Batman doubts it will be that easy. He also suggests Arrow stay behind with Jean and Midnight to watch Guy Gardner. Green Arrow knows the real reason is because of his friendship with Hal, and Batman admits it, saying that if anything happens to them, he's the only one who could lead an appropriate counterattack on Hal. At the Justice Society's headquarters, Alan Scott appears on the verge of collapse and needs Jade's support to stand up, but insists on talking with Mr. Terrific. He asks Michael to keep an eye on the League, thinking that Hal is innocent in this. Mr. Terrific is surprised by Alan's willingness to defend Hal Jordan, but it makes perfect sense to Jay Garrick. Anyone would feel the same way if they shared a name with a murderer.
Ooh,
burn! At Ferris Aircraft, Carol tells Hal that she's married. Hal knows and is happy for her, saying that all of the women he's been with, she was the only one that had a chance at settling him down. They share an embrace, and Carol tells Hal that's cold. The League arrives, and Superman explains what happened to Coast City and Guy Gardner, which surprises Hal. Flash asks what Hal has done, and Hal admits to fixing Ferris Aircraft, nothing more, leading Batman to cynically note that Hal was trying to fix things as Parallax. Burn. Suddenly, John Stewart takes the air and attacks the Justice League. Hal transforms into the Spectre, but the entity itself takes Hal away. On the Watchtower, Guy Gardner's appearance has stabilized, and Mr. Terrific has discovered why. His human DNA is suppressing his Voldarian DNA. Jean soon discovers that he can't connect with Guy when all of a sudden the power ring Green Arrow has becomes hot, then splits into two, one of them attaching itself to Guy Gardner. Jean finds Gardner's mind overwhelmed with arrogance, confidence, and fear when Gardner uses the ring to attack them and slips into his old Green Lantern uniform.
Great page.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So for the first time since Green Lantern 25, he's back, baby, for the green ring. And remember, kids, that he didn't get that ring Green Arrow had. It split, so there's still one sitting there for some reason.
I wonder why.
Keep an eye on that ring. At the crash site, Cal regains consciousness and repeats his warning of the name. The hitchhikers ask what it is, and Cal explains that it is the impurity. Who is this, Bill Clinton? What's your definition of it? Suddenly, a green energy blast hits the ship, projected by Kilowog. Cal tells the two hitchhikers to leave as Kilowog tells Cal to use the ring. Cal refuses, and Kilowog blasts the ship, opening the coffin containing Hal Jordan's still preserved body. All of a sudden, a force field surrounds the coffin as Kilowog is ordered to stand down. The speaker announces that Hal Jordan's body is under his protection. Ganthit, the last guardian of the universe.
Another great ending.
Yes. Yes. I'm looking at one of the little facts here, but it says, it's not surprising Batman doesn't trust Hal Jordan, but it's like, shouldn't Wally West trust Hal because he's kind of like a surrogate uncle to him?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, but this would have been after the secret identity thing, right? That the Spectre...
Oh, yeah, didn't he mention that somewhere in this? Or he's like, yeah, when the Spectre put what, or was that in the JSA one? I forget, but in one of them he says... I
think that was the JSA, kind of warped his wish, yeah.
Yeah, he said, it never comes out, exactly, because even Wally forgot he was the Flash when he first did that, yeah.
Yeah.
Come on, Will, what do you think?
Well...
But that was a pretty sweet scene with that splash page of Guy Gardner, yeah.
And then we get pretty much a splash with Kilowog. I mean, it's got 3 little panels on the side over here, but, I mean... Kilowog, full page of Kilowog. So we've got Guy, John, Kilowog, Kyle. Yeah. So, I mean, it's, and I like the first thing, when the League approaches Hal, is like, what's wrong? Do you guys need some help? And they're like, no, we're here to kick your ass. Pardon my French.
So not only are we in an age of the return of Hal Jordan, but we're finally going to get good Guy Gardner.
Yes, absolutely, definitely. But yeah, I mean this continued on, and we get, because it makes you want to keep going, right?
Oh yeah,
because it has a name. What has a name? The impurity. What? The yellow weakness? The impurity? What? Tell me more. Oh, this is the end of the issue. Dang it! And Kilowog shows up, in all his glory. So, yeah.
All right, and I have a question about Blackhand from the first issue. Did he sense that, the battery was back or whatever? Because for the longest time after Hal destroyed the battery, shouldn't that ring have been, dead?
So, when we had Dan from Mosaic Comics on there, he said he had some headcanon that I immediately said, I like that. I'm adopting it as my headcanon, too. Is that, in the Wizard issue, Kyle is, saving these aliens, and they're talking in an alien language. He goes, "Wow, I wish I could understand you." Ring online, translating from Sector 3599, and he hears, Parallax is coming. So the thing that Dan suggested is that with the central power battery backup, that is what connects the rings back to the AI. That's where the AI lives, and you've got all of that infrastructure now to support a ring. Where, the rings can talk, the rings can then duplicate and do all the things that, we know rings have been able to do in the past. So, and then I love the fact that, it's Kyle, and it makes perfect sense here because he's not able, the ring takes control of our classic Green Lanterns, right? John, Guy, Kilowog, because, they're fearless, right? But Kyle's not.
Exactly.
Which is why he's able to resist. So, I mean, it's great that Johns really is giving each of these characters, kind of a moment to shine, Guy got his and is going to get it, another one. Yeah. And then John was getting his and he's going to get some more. Kilowog, shows up.
Oh, yeah.
And so, yeah, this is good stuff.
Hey, it is. All right, let's get to number 3. What about this cover? The three faces of evil here.
Yeah, you've got Spectre Hal Jordan, Parallax Hal Jordan, and good old Green Lantern Hal Jordan. Yeah,
yep.
That's a nice cover. These have got some great covers. I'm gonna have to think. We'll have to talk after we've seen all 6 of them and see what's a favorite. What our favorite covers are.
All right, Green Lantern Rebirth number 3, February 2005. Yellow. Same team as number 2. At the crash site, Ganthit repeats his order to Kilowog to stand down. The situation makes Cal nervous for 2 reasons. Not only is Ganthit capable of cracking the planet in half, he appears to be angry, something Cal's never seen before. Kilowog attacks, but his strike fails to even phase Ganthet, who retaliates with blasts of greater magnitude. Cal instinctively throws up a shield with his ring, and he sees images of Guy Gardner and Jon Stewart attacking the Justice League, as a voice says he has them. At the same time, Hal Jordan finds himself on the outskirts of Coast City and a green light coming from the city. The light is at his old apartment building and is being caused by a Green Lantern power battery. Hal is confused but sees his reflection on the lantern in the form of Parallax. Ganthet tells Cal to leave, saying that preparations are ready and that fear cannot sneak up on one who knows it. Cal tells him that Guy and Jon are affected like Kilowog and hopes for success, but Ganthet tells him that hope has no power over fear. Their only weapon is willpower. With that, Ganthet teleports Cal to the watchtower. Cal rushes over to Jon, seeing if he's alive. Green Arrow is awake, telling him that what Guy Gardner did, then stops cold when he sees Hal's body. Cal advises him to sit down, saying it's a long story. At Coast City, Hal doesn't understand why his Parallax persona is emerging. When it says that it's inside him, it offers to return everything Hal has lost: Coast City, the Green Lantern Corps, even Carol Ferris. The Spectre emerges and tries to suppress Parallax, but does so with great difficulty, saying that it's time Hal Jordan learned the truth about Parallax. On the Watchtower, Cal explains about the energy that the Green Lanterns use, which is made up from the willpower of the sentient beings in the universe. During his journey to Sector 3599, he landed on a planet where the people told him that Parallax was going to destroy the universe. Cal thought that they were referring to Hal, but they showed him a crude drawing of a creature named Parallax. This insectoid-like creature was a demonic parasite and the physical embodiment of fear. Parallax caused intense fear in civilizations which wiped themselves out from mass paranoia and fed on that fear. The Guardians of the Universe battled Parallax with willpower, but neither force could destroy the other, so the Guardians sealed Parallax in the central power battery on Oa, placing him in a comatose state, which the Guardians believed he would never emerge from. For 3 billion years, Parallax was essentially dead, purposely forgotten so that no one would try to free it. But its presence in the battery weakened the energy stored within, and Parallax became the cause of the yellow impurity. Haha! For 3 billion years, I caused you to quake in fear at yellow lamps and safes.
That's right. And mustard.
Oh, my condiment king. Then one day, Parallax awoke. Needing a host, it selected Hal Jordan, influencing him for years. The white streaks in his hair were the first sign. When the cyborg Superman and Mongol destroyed Coast City, that was more than enough for Parallax to get a foothold in Jordan's mind. His subsequent attempt to recreate Coast City and rampage against the Green Lantern Corps were caused by Parallax manipulating Hal's mind. The breaking point was when Hal Jordan killed Sinestro, who the Guardians released to try and stop Hal. Once Hal absorbed the energy from the central battery, Parallax was finally freed and grafted itself on the Hal Jordan soul. Parallax's reigniting of the sun was Hal Jordan's mind shining through. However, when Hal Jordan died, Parallax remained with his soul, now bonded to the Spectre. At Coast City, the Spectre has just explained the same things to Hal Jordan. That was the reason that the Spectre chose Hal as his host, in an attempt to punish Parallax for its crimes and remove it from Hal Jordan's soul. Unfortunately, by this point, Parallax had control over the Spectre now and suppresses both Hal and the Spectre. Tearing off Hal Jordan's skin, Parallax is reborn.
But it gets better.
That's right. On the Watchtower, Green Arrow is still processing everything, not only what he's been told, but the magnitude of what Parallax did to Hal. It took Hal Jordan's life, reputation, and very soul. Green Arrow doesn't understand why Ganthet never told them the truth about Parallax before, and Cal says that Ganthet believes Parallax suppressed his memories of Parallax after it escaped. Arrow angrily rejects that, having never trusted the Guardians. Cal doesn't know how to stop Parallax before it takes over the Spectre, but knows that they need to do it before he's corrupted as well. There are 2 questions Green Arrow still has. If Parallax needed a host, why did it pick Hal out of the thousands of Green Lanterns available? And if Parallax had been asleep, what made it wake up? Suddenly, the answer to that question appears. Green Arrow is struck in the back by a yellow energy arrow, and as he and Cal turn around, the cause for both Parallax's awakening and Hal's selection stands right before them. Sinestro of Korrigar.
Who else? talk about a way to end an issue, right?
Uh-huh.
Come on.
Although, it's like, is this the real one this time?
So, at the end of issue 3, we have, well, and John said something, obviously the point of the story is to bring Hal back, right?
Yeah.
That's the meta. But bringing Hal back is a byproduct of them defeating Parallax.
Yeah.
So I think that was a really smart idea. It's not just, we're not just here to bring Hal back. We're here. This thing has shown up. We need Hal, and that's why he's getting brought back, is so he can help defeat this thing. But weaving all of that stuff in, the yellow impurity goes back to the very first appearance in Showcase 22, right?
Yep.
The Parallax getting awakened, where did Sinestro spend a lot of time at the end of the original Green Lanterns, Volume 2? He was in the Central Power Battery, right?
Mm-hmm.
In the very last issue of Green Lantern Corps,
yeah.
I believe, is where he was. And then, unless I missed my guess too, Hal went in the Central Power Battery in Emerald Dawn.
Yep, at the end, yep.
So, yeah, we're weaving all of this stuff in, and,
That was the first time Hal went in the battery. Remember the second time at the end of the road back?
Yep.
Yep.
But he already had white hair by then.
Yes.
Had already.
But here he got in there twice by the time he did it again in Emerald Twilight. So,
yeah. So get this. That was, when you get right down to it, Sinestro had not appeared since about 87 or 88?
Yep.
Actually, Sinestro. So it had been 17 years, 16 years since Sinestro had actually appeared, period.
Pretty much, yeah. Because we retconned his appearance in Emerald Twilight. We retconned his appearance in Emerald Twilight, but yes.
And his appearance in the Spectre series, because, you get we tormented him with lots of different things, he and Parallax, so.
Yes, we'll get to that, but it's like, so in Emerald Twilight, the Guardians didn't realize that wasn't Sinestro?
Don't know.
They were busy. They were busy getting everyone out of the mosaic.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, then we've got a great cover to number 4 as well.
And the greatest last page of all time, eh, William?
Yeah. Yes, number 4.
All right.
We're going to talk a little bit about number 4.
All right. All right. So Green Lantern Rebirth number 4 from March 2005. Force of Will. Oh, Jesus. Oh my God! The universe made you the ultimate meta commentary. You're the biggest Hal Jordan Green Lantern fan, and your name is Will.
My name is Will. The irony is not lost upon me.
All right, same team as last time. At the Watchtower, Kal Rayner and Green Arrow are staring down Sinestro, angrily telling Kal he should have let it burn out. Sinestro then fires a flurry of energy projectiles at them, but Kal was able to raise a shield against them. Kal would believe that Sinestro was dead, but Sinestro reveals that what Hal Jordan killed was actually an energy construct made by Parallax. Temporarily subduing Kal, Sinestro notes Green Arrow and his friendship with Hal, then slams him into the wall. Sinestro explains that when he was in the Central Power Battery, his ring allowed him to awaken and communicate with Parallax. He marvels at how, for all these years, his ring was tapping into living fear and that he now essentially commands it. So, is that what Guy Gardner was doing?
I guess. I don't know. No, I do love... there's lots of great little details that Johns is, sprinkles in here. He goes, Guy talks trash about every one of Jordan's old enemies, always saying how candy-ass Sonar is.
We're
counting the number of times he's made Dr. Polaris cry. And it's a lot. But Sinestro... I never mentioned Sinestro.
Oh, yeah. At Coast City, Parallax has fully suppressed both Hal Jordan and the Spectre and destroys the building. Ganthet deposits an unconscious Kilowog before Parallax, saying that his brief freedom is nearing its end. Parallax counters that without threats such as himself, the Guardians would have no reason to exist. Guy Gardner and John Stewart, under Parallax's influence, try to attack Ganthet, but the Guardian severs Parallax's connection over them. As the three Green Lanterns form up around Ganthet, he notes that Parallax has made a number of enemies in Sector 2814. Case in point, the heroes of Earth. The bat. That is funny, yeah. Parallax is like, oh, you think you just 3 of your guys can beat me? He's like, no, I'm not talking about my self-appointed guys. I'm just like, yeah, I know them, and it's like the Justice League, the Justice Society.
Teen Titans.
Exactly. The battle on the watchtower rages, moving from room to room, damaging the building. Sinestro is easily dominating his battle with Cal, calling him an alley rat, unworthy of being a Green Lantern. Green Arrow tries to charge the ring Hal gave him and succeeds, despite not remembering the oath. Sinestro is aware of Green Arrow's actions, but is not worried, considering Arrow's will is cynical and weak. Arrow rages against Sinestro for what he did to Hal, and Sinestro says that Hal Jordan brought it upon himself for interfering on Korugar. Sinestro's place in history is as the greatest villain of Korugar, and now Hal Jordan knows what that's like, as there is no one left who believes in him. Green Arrow counters that there is, and is able to fire a single energy arrow through Sinestro. However, the action took all of Green Arrow's will, and he nearly collapses. Fortunately, the conversation gave Cal time to recover, and he blasts Sinestro away. Arrow asks if it's like that when one uses the ring, and Cal confirms it.
Every time.
All right. On Earth,
Batman, my favorite character,
and Wonder Woman note that the heroes seem to be holding back against Parallax, almost as if they're afraid. John and Guy run toward Batman, trying to explain what is going on, but John is still unsure if they can risk using their rings. Parallax is unimpressed with Earth's heroes, but is amused by Alan Scott, noting that the Statesman was the only Green Lantern to resist his call due to his different power. As Parallax tries to finish Alan Scott off, he recoils as Hal Jordan's soul fights his way through, urging the Spectre to fight as well. Finally, Hal Jordan, the Spectre, and Parallax are all separated from each other, allowing the heroes to see Parallax's true form, and that Hal Jordan is not Parallax. Hal commands the Spectre to destroy Parallax, but he refuses, saying that his goal was to remove Parallax from Hal, and that his goal is complete. The Lord summons the Spectre, who departs, saying that Hal Jordan's soul is ready to move on. As Hal moves into the light, Parallax takes hold of Ganthet, who sends a beacon of green light to guide Hal Jordan back. Back where? Jordan is ready to move on, but the spirits of Abin Sur, Tomar Ray, and Martin Jordan appear, telling him that he can overcome great fear and that it's not his time. Hal follows the beacon to another place. On the Watchtower, Kyle Rayner and Green Arrow are all but defeated, and Sinestro commands them to beg for their lives, saying he'll make it quick. Suddenly, remember that ring, kids? Green Arrow's ring leaves and heads over to Hal Jordan's body. As the ring glows, the white streaks fade from his hair and his mind and soul feel clear. To Sinestro's shock, the coffin explodes as Hal Jordan is reborn, not as Parallax or the Spectre, but as the Green Lantern.
I, of course, love Hal Jordan.
Yeah. I absolutely love that page when he's going, his soul's come back into his body, and he says no more fear, but plenty of damn will. And then, get the hell away from them.
That sequence makes me excited. That has to be in your top 3 greatest comic moments of all time.
That's pretty freaking awesome right there. And except it's followed by a great moment.
Hell of an entrance.
About two pages into the next issue, which I love as well.
Yes.
But yeah, this is so now we know everything, right? So issue 4, issue 3 has been about kind of setting everything up.
Yes.
Letting us know
who and what Parallax is, how Sinestro's back,
and some subtle retconning of some things to make sure that, because, Hal can't have killed those people and still be a hero. That's just, that can't have happened. He had to have been possessed or a clone or blah, 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 whatever. But he was possessed by Parallax. So, but 4 really kicks it into gear, right? And then 5, they put the pedal to the metal at that point, because it just goes from that point on.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I do love the last 2 pages of issue 4 are freaking awesome.
Oh, especially that last page, just Hal standing there.
Yeah. Which is something that, it's a structure that Jeff Johns uses really well, and, the artist executes really well, is that, the last page of these are pretty big turns.
Yeah.
that are given splash pages because the moment the moment requires it. And that's what this last page is one of the best.
Yeah, I mean, it's all pretty much big entrances. Like the first one was like Hal and Carol, and then the second one was Ganthet showing up. Issue 3, we get the Sinestro reveal, and then issue 4, Hal's back.
And other big things, the Spectre, breaking the connection between Hal and Parallax. That's actually part of a double page spread, but then the other page has got 7 panels on it, so but Guy's reemergence as a Green Lantern, that got a full page. I mean, this is kind of a masterclass. I mean, it really is.
Oh yeah, fellas, Hal, write this Green Lantern movie.
Which is again why that movie was so Jeff Johns was involved with that movie, and yet it was so disappointing.
I don't know.
Right?
Was it like studio interference or something, or
I don't know. I mean,
you know what?
He wrote, and we'll get to it eventually, Secret Origin.
Yep. In
this title, which was a great reinterpretation of the classic Green Lantern origin. I mean, it played into everything that he had been building here, and then in the regular title, we get to see how it all comes together. So yeah, absolutely.
I can believe studio interference because I keep seeing this story. I've seen it a few times on social media where it's like, I guess during one of the meetings for Man of Steel, I don't know, one of the studio heads was talking. I don't know if it was the producer, the writer, somebody, and say, and they say, at the end, he's going to use that pod he came to Earth in to take down Zod's ship, and like the studio head was like, well, how's he going to get back to Krypton? And they were just like, no, Krypton was destroyed. That was like, you just saw the first 20 minutes of the movie. That's what happened. Krypton blew up.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yes, studio heads.
You know the story of Superman?
I know. I was going to say, even if you had not watched the movie you're working on, shouldn't you know that?
Yeah. Great cover for number 5.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely
Hal
great cover for number 5.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. Green Lantern Rebirth number 5, April 2005. Rings! In the Watchtower, Hal Jordan restored to life. All right, let's repeat that for Will. In the Watchtower, Hal Jordan restored to life. Repeats his instruction for Sinestro to stand down and get away from Kal Rayner and Green Arrow. Only to be shot out of the Watchtower with one shot, bouncing off the surface of the moon several times before he comes to a stop. That doesn't matter to Hal. Neither does the bloody nose or the fact that Sinestro is lecturing him as always. That is awesome during the fight where, before Sinestro gets close, he's like, oh yeah, Sinestro's babbling something, but he's not even close enough for the ring to translate it.
Translate, yeah. Now, right here, so that's a double page spread where he gets knocked out of the Watchtower and skips across the surface of the moon, right?
Yeah.
And then he looked up and he's smiling. He's got a bloody nose. He's like, that felt good.
Well, you figure too. It's like, ow. It's like, yeah, I feel pain, but that means I'm alive.
But then, you're right. We get, and then here is where Johns takes, I think, one of the greatest innovations of the Mars era, and just seamlessly incorporates it in. He says, ring power check. Power level at 99.4%. And then that is such an integral part of this book moving, of Green Lantern moving forward, but also Green Lantern Corps, as it moves forward, it's chef's kiss.
What matters to Hal is that he knows who he is, and that is the Green Lantern. As the two enemies fight it out, Hal accuses Sinestro of abandoning his oath, and Sinestro counters that the Guardians abandoned him and left Korugar in the hands of Kat Matui, a mere child. Sinestro vows to have justice, but Hal counters that all he wanted was vengeance and control, remembering back to his first meeting with Sinestro. Hal Jordan is flying a fighter on a test when Hal suddenly crashes into Sinestro. Saved by Sinestro projecting a field around him, he announces who he is, that Sector 1417 is the most orderly in the universe, and that the Guardians of the Universe have instructed him to train Hal Jordan. Sinestro starts off with 2 instructions: never question a superior officer and never challenge those greater than himself. Hal says that the last part isn't going to work for him.
Yep.
In space, Hal and Sinestro continue to battle, and Sinestro vows to kill both Jordan and the alley rat, Cal Rayner. Hal counters that Cal kept the torch of the Green Lantern Corps burning when no one else could, and that Sinestro will respect him. Yeah!
Absolutely.
Cal agrees, firing several green arrow energy arrows into Sinestro, telling him that it's Green Arrow saying hello. As Hal and Sinestro charge each other, their rings collide with each other, but Sinestro's ring breaks under pressure from Hal's power ring and explodes. As he appears to be consumed by yellow energy, Sinestro chuckles and tells Jordan, "Welcome back." Hal does a scan with his ring and it informs him that Sinestro fled into another dimension, specifically the antimatter universe. Hal also decides to start things off right with Cal Rayner, shaking his hand and thanking him. Cal tells Hal that he isn't capable of overcoming great fear like other Green Lanterns, but Hal counters that by fighting Sinestro and helping to clear his name, he already has. On Earth, Parallax has fully possessed Ganthet, taking the form of a horrific guardian-like appearance with insectoid legs. He vows to feed off Earth's spheres and notes a disciple in Batman. As Flash realizes that Parallax really was an outside force, John, Guy, and Kilowog realize that they can't use their rings, but Hal and Cal arrive. Hal tells them to power up their rings and that by remembering fear, they can overcome Parallax. Unfortunately, Hal's arm is then roped by Batman, who promises that as long as he's standing, Hal isn't going anywhere.
Okay, so lots of great stuff in this one. Like I said, the first double page splash, the fight with Sinestro.
Yes.
I mean, it's just awesome. You get them flying out through the asteroid belt. They're out past Saturn already. I mean, oh, and I think, that part where, because that's not going to work for me about challenging someone more powerful. But when Kyle shows up, those arrows and that fire that burns in the shape of a lantern, Sinestro's actually scarred, and you see that scar, I believe, when he is prepping in the lead up to the Sinestro Corps War.
Oh,
I think I remember seeing that, so that's something we're going to have to double check.
Oh, I do remember this. This issue was delayed by 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, I do remember that now. Remember, we got that whole issue 4. We end with that Hal Jordan cliffhanger, and then it's like, oh yeah, so we're delayed for 2 months. What?
2 months. He's back. Where's my next issue?
Exactly.
And then Sinestro going back to the antimatter universe because his ring gets destroyed, and he says, hey, welcome back, right?
Oh yeah, I love it. Forget the number, but Hal's like, it's like a 1017, and Cal's like, what the hell is a 1017?
A 1963.
1963, yes.
Suspect escaped into an extra-dimensional vortex. Now, Sinestro's first appearance was 1961, so I'm not sure what this is referring to, but I'm going to try to find out what that is.
When was Cord's first appearance?
Maybe then. I'll check. I'll do some research on that.
Because that seems oddly specific,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
19.
And then we get that full page of Hal and Kyle
shaking
really
hands,
meeting for the first time. Yeah.
I already met you, but you won't remember because you wiped your own memory and went back.
Went back in time, but then it's crazy. And then Hal showing up at the end, and then the Batman full page splash. And again, Batman, since that scene with John, Batman is back to being just a black shadow with eyes, right? You don't see him as a man yet.
Batman.
Yeah.
My favorite character.
And then we get number 5. Woohoo! Which has, I think that's probably...
You mean number 6?
Oh yeah, number 6. Yeah, number 6. That's a pretty awesome cover right there.
Oh yeah, all the Green Lanterns on it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And what's the title of this one, Phil?
Green Lantern Rebirth number 6, May 2005. Brightest Day.
You got it.
Oh my. Okay. So kind of the same team, but this time we have 3 inkers.
They were a bit behind, I guess.
Ethan's inking some of his own pencils. Marlo Acquiza and Mick Gray. So I guess we need help with the inks here. All right.
Yeah.
Batman demands an explanation from Hal Jordan before he allows him to try and stop Parallax. Hold on. Here we go. Before he allows him to try and stop the Parallax possessed Ganthet. Instead, Hal uses his ring to shatter the batarang and rope attached to him. Parallax begins to spread his power over Earth, causing humanity to succumb to paranoia. Batman grabs Hal's shoulder, still wanting an explanation. Ready, Ray? And Hal downs Batman with a single right hook, telling him that he'll have to wait. Hal then leads the Green Lanterns, including a very happy Guy Gardner, in an attack on Parallax. Just that panel, that page where Hal punches back. You just see Guy in the back go like...
Yeah, he's like, yeah.
He was ready to kiss Hal. He's like, yeah, I do it. I mean, Hal's like, shut up, Guy. Batman doesn't trust the Lanterns to stop Parallax, but as he tells the Justice League to regroup, a wall of green fire between the heroes and Parallax appears, caused by Jade and Alan Scott, with Alan telling Batman not to interfere. As the Green Lanterns fly toward Parallax, Hal tells them that Ganthet said preparations were ready, but didn't elaborate. Hal figures that they can use their rings, which are connected to the AI on Oa, to tap into the central power battery and send Parallax back there. As the Green Lanterns attack, they each use their own signature methods to strike him. John building restraints to hold Parallax from the inside out. Guy's eagerness to give his will form resulted in giving off sparks as he forms a buzzsaw. Cal's constant sketching and resketching a restraint to keep Parallax's mouth open. Kilowog's ring making its signature sonic boom, and Hal's precision energy beams in his attacks. Parallax refuses to give in and causes each Lantern to succumb except Hal Jordan. It tries to goad Hal, saying that he's weak and gave up before. However, Hal refuses to yield, and Parallax practically begs Jordan to give up. Finally, with Parallax's power weakening, the Green Lanterns separate Parallax from Ganthet and each absorbs a piece of Parallax into their rings. On Oa, the central power battery lights up, heralding Parallax's return. Observing the now adult second generation of Guardians agree that it is time. So, we didn't see them age up, but they have aged up.
Mm-hmm.
And what's her face? Nowhere to be seen.
Yep, exactly. Do we ever see her again?
I thought we looked it up when we did like 171 through 175.
Look that up. Yeah,
way down the line she might appear in a story, I thought you said, but
okay.
Yeah, not like nothing about a Guardian literally stabbing Cal in the back.
Yeah.
On Earth, the Lanterns approach Ganthet, who rises, saying that they have done well, and returns to Oa. Guy kisses his ring, happy to have it back. Before more celebrations can occur, Cal points out the assembled superheroes, at the forefront of which is Batman, who appears ready to pick up where they left off. Batman asks if Hal really expects him to believe that he is innocent of what Parallax did, but Hal says that he doesn't expect Batman to believe anything, nor does he care. Batman sarcastically notes that Hal's back, and John asks if that's a problem, but Batman merely notes that the universe could use a little more light. At Belle Reve, Hector Hammond is ecstatic with joy over Hal Jordan's return and impressed with Kyle Rayner helping to restore him. He also notes how much more fun it will be when they arrive. Yeah, we'll get there, kids. The next day at Ferris Aircraft, Hal has explained everything that happened to Carol. He decides that it's time to rebuild his life and apologizes for everything she suffered because of him. Carol says that she survived and decides that she is going to keep the airfield and start a family with her husband, and offers Hal a job. Hal declines but promises that he'll be there if Carol needs him. They embrace, and Carol notes that he isn't cold anymore and still wondering where his niece is.
Yeah.
At Star City, Oliver Queen is healing well, but notes that his aim is off by a few millimeters. He has something else of Hal's, saying he got it from his locker after Parallax emerged, his old power battery. Ollie notes that he could never remember the Green Lantern Oath, but Hal notes that he can never forget it and charges his ring. He got that continuity error out of Hal's locker.
Yes, we were going to talk about that, yeah.
Because if you remember, kids, Green Lantern Volume 2, number, what was it, 43, the issue with Iddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His power battery gets destroyed.
Uh-huh.
He bums it. Then he has to bum a charge off of somebody during Third Law.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Or no, is it Trinity or Third Law?
Trinity. It was Trinity.
Yeah.
It was Trinity. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then his ring loses its charge completely. He's able to recharge it by the projection from the Guardian in Emerald Twilight.
Yeah, issue 48. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So I'm okay with that though.
Yeah.
All right.
Unless that was just Parallax messing with his mind again.
That could have been this. Yeah, we can always chalk it up to that. I do love when Parallax has taken out Guy and John and Kilowog and Kyle, and he says, you're weak, you're scared, give up now, give up, and then give up, damn you. I don't know how.
Yes,
that's awesome. That is awesome.
Oh yeah.
And there's so much, and Kyle even sets up in his explanation. He talks about there's an emotional spectrum, right? An emotional energy spectrum.
Oh, we're going to get there big time, kids.
Yes, that's going to land all over this title and about 3 or 4 others.
Many other titles, yes.
But one of the things I do love about the Absolute Edition, and I'm pretty sure this is in just the standard hardcover, is it's got the original proposal by Jeff Johns, which was revised on January 21st of 2004. And then it's got the script for Rebirth #1, which was revised on June 15th of 2004. So I really think that when Ben Robb took over, they knew they were rebooting.
Yeah,
I really do. Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that's what we already said. Yeah, like a year before this. Yeah, they kind of knew, so the writing was on the wall.
Yep.
At least by the time that they brought Ron Mars in for that last arc, they definitely
Oh yeah, definitely by that point they knew.
But yeah,
which gives us that weird.
Well, I wonder.
That weird ending to Ben Robb's arc with Kyle getting stabbed. Yeah. Which is just a really weird way to end it.
Unless Ben Robb thought he was gonna end volume 2 or 3, whatever it is, and then they were just like, no, we're bringing Ron Mars in to close this thing out.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
I don't know. I mean,
but I wonder if that's why that we got that weird recap issue. When Cal sent the messages to everybody. I wonder if that. I wonder if that was Rob having to change course, but I'm only the book's only going to last so much longer. So okay, well I better hurry up that Black Circle thing. So
could be.
I wonder if that was just a fill-in issue to buy a month.
That whole Black Circle thing. It always felt like kind of a waste of Green Lantern. I mean.
Yeah. I mean, again, the villain wasn't that. I mean, I know it was Abin Sur's son, but it never seemed that menacing. And then just like I said, the whole ending, it just kind of went out with a whimper, pretty much.
Yeah. But then we get this.
Yes.
This is awesome. This is one of the writers I know was chatting on Twitter, and he's like, this is like textbook. This is the best reboot, relaunch, whatever that has been done in superhero comics, period. I mean, it's the pinnacle. And I think you can see why. It took everything that came before, and it honored the spirit of that while incorporating very specific things to, build a foundation to build not just a new Green Lantern title, which it did, but also a new Green Lantern core title, and then explode into, one of the best-selling series that DC had for quite a while. It upped the ante with Sinestro Corps War, and then we got Blackest Night. Granted, Brightest Day, I read about half of. I don't even remember much of it. I hope it's better on rereading, but anyway. But then New 52 comes along, and suddenly we have 4 Green Lantern titles. I mean, and I think the obvious, and I've said this before, and you said this before, it was obviously one of the most important titles for DC because New 52 did not touch it.
Mm.
It did not mess with its continuity. It changed nothing about it, just like it did for a certain other character.
Yeah, old what's his face here?
Batman. My favorite character.
Oh, speaking of, should we hear what Ray had to think about? Well,
Let's hear the feedback. Yes,
I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't even read the story. He's just commenting on one page. But yes, kids. Oh, it's been such a long time. Hold on. I have his picture to put up for his feedback. Oh my god, it's been so long.
Oh yeah, it has, hasn't it?
Yes, there it is. All right, I gotta share it. All right. Oh wait, no, presents. Oh, that's right, kids. Host of Into the Night, the Moon Knight podcast, and Overs to Fear Her, the Spider-Woman podcast, and Predator and Prey, talking all about the Predator, yes. And again, last week of every month, he talks Scarlet Spider with myself and Australia's other host, Dave.
And occasionally hangs out with us to talk Wonder Man.
Yes! All right, wait, no, not the entire screen. All right, here we go. All right, there he is in all his glory, kids. All right, let's see. Like I said, it's only minute 15. So, all right, let's hear what he had to think about his favorite character.
G'day, Phil and Will. This is Ray. It's been a while since I've been able to drop in some feedback, but I could not resist throwing my hat in the ring for this particular event, let alone issue. Now, I'm working off the premise of basically what Phil showed me about Hal Jordan clocking Batman.
His new favorite hero, Hal Jordan.
And I've got to say, I love it. I have to say, it's probably the best thing that has ever happened. Will, can you please back me up? Is this the best thing that Hal Jordan has ever done in his whole canon? I'd be hard-pressed to think that there is anything else that comes close to this monumental event. I hope this gets reprinted. I hope it's on digital.
Yes and yes.
It is on... I was about to say Marvel Unlimited. I hope it is on DC
Yes.
Infinite or whatever
Yes.
it's called these days.
Yes.
But this sort of stuff needs to happen again and again and again. Stuff prep time. How about fist time? All right, over and out.
I knew he would focus on one move.
Needs to happen again and again and again.
Your hero Batman tried to take out Hal Jordan's knuckles with his chin. All right.
Batman, my favorite character.
Save the universe. Oh, no. His greatest achievement is clocking Batman. Yes.
One punch.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, this is... And now, again, I don't want this to take anything away from what Ron Mars and Daryl Banks and the artists that he worked with did with Kyle. That was good work. This is really kind of the foundation of a decade's worth of Green Lantern stories. If not more. And as big an impact as Mars and Banks and those artists had on Green Lantern, which was great. I mean, it really was. I think you'd be hard to argue that anybody's had more of an impact on Green Lantern than Jeff Johns.
Oh yeah, I mean, Ron Mars and Daryl Banks wrote the book for Green Lantern for that decade, and then Jeff Johns came in and pretty much laid the foundation for everything we have up to this point.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm.
So for basically almost Ron Mars and Daryl Banks basically set the stage for 10 years. I mean, Jeff Johns is pretty much almost at 20 years here.
Yeah, pretty much. And it's, we get during New 52? I think it's during New 52. We get the introduction of two more, human Earth Green Lanterns. We get Jessica and Simon.
Yeah, so was New 52, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then that will play through the DC Rebirth event, which happened after, New 52.
Yeah, like 2016, yeah.
Yeah, but then, it wasn't until 2020 or 2021. I forget when Farscape came out because
Far
Sector.
Yeah.
That gives us Joe, as another Earth Lantern. So it's amazing the influence that this book Rebirth has had on not just Green Lantern but the entire DC universe.
Oh yeah.
Right?
That's what I'm saying. I compare it to when Mark Waid came up with the Speed Force for the Flash. I mean, every TV show, movie, any iteration of the Flash now uses the Speed Force. So it's like, any Green Lantern now, they use the emotional spectrum, correct?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, yeah, it's just so darn good. It's so well paced. It's so well drawn.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just a it's a masterclass on how to do this, and it's definitely one of my favorite all-time stories. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. Yes, Green Lantern Far Sector was January 2020 to August 2021.
So that's, I mean, so how many? So we talk Earth Lanterns. You know, we got the four. We got Hal, Guy, John, and Kyle.
Four.
I just put them in the four Corpsmen. I just put them in chronological order. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Not in order of appreciation, just in chronological order. We then get Simon and Jessica. Simon in a Green Lantern book, Jessica in a Justice League book. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Part of the Dark Side War, if I remember right.
I think so.
Yeah. And then in Far Sector, we get Joe. So, you know, we get a ton of stuff coming after this with the Green Lantern Corps book. You know, we get the Ultimate Green Lantern, you know, Daxamite with a ring. We get, you know, Guy and John and Kyle, you know, in the core book, and it's just so good. And then we get Sinestro Core War, which was phenomenal. I mean, it was kind of mind blowing when it came out. It was like, what happens next? Give me all of these stuff. Give me all of these things. And then that leads into a series of mini arcs where Hal is encountering each of the other cores, right?
Yeah,
which is really cool because, you know, we get Rage of the Red Lanterns. You know, we get Agent Orange. We get after he encounters the Blue Lanterns.
Mm-hmm.
You know, after Rage of the Red Lanterns and Sins of the Star Sapphires. You know, I mean, there's so much good stuff coming.
Larfleeze.
Yeah, there's a Larfleeze Christmas special. You can make his cookies too.
Oh, how great would that be if we could actually line that up for
Christmas
like around
cookies.
the Christmas? No, around December 1 year.
It might make it. I don't know. We do have a lot of issues to get through.
It's been a while. Yeah. Yeah. Depending what we do for episode 150, all the other ones in December this year are going to be like the beginning of Blackest Night. I hear the song parodies now. Silent Night, Blackest Night.
Yep. So yeah, I mean, this is just so good, and it gets to, and you know, having said all of that, it really gets back to the core. The core.
We did get back to the core this time. Yes, yes.
Yeah. It really gets back to the core of Hal's character, which is, you know, have you ever seen the movie The Right Stuff?
Yeah, it's been a while, but yeah.
Okay, so Chuck Yeager, you know, all these astronauts are like, you know, who's your hero? It's Chuck freaking Yeager, right? Because, you know, he's a test pilot.
Yeah.
And then there's that scene at the end of the movie where he's trying to he's already broken the sound barrier. He's doing something, you know, suitably crazy, stupid, and brave, right? And he crashes. You know, they can't talk to him. And then, you know, the camera's way back. And then you see this burning, you know, remnants of a jet in the background. And you see this guy just walking out of it like it's another day at the office, right? He's just getting away from it. I mean, Hal is that guy. And, you know, I feel like we lost that, you know, in the, you know, from kind of the late 60s on, you know, we lost that, you know, kind of like that Hal Jordan. You know, he kept trying to become something else. And, you know, and I know it was a different time. When he was launched, you know, the space race was on, Sputnik had just been launched, you know, and we had, you know, science heroes, you know, that was the thing, you know, and here was this guy, you know, that put himself with only his skill and his, you know, intellect and his bravery to let him do things that, you know, normal people couldn't do. And that's why he was chosen. But that, I don't know if that archetype, that character type kind of fell out of favor during the 60s, you know, which is odd because, you know, that's when we actually put somebody on the moon in 69. And throughout the 70s, I feel like there was a lot of disillusionment with a lot of things. And, I've said this many, many times. It was groundbreaking. It was extraordinarily well done. But Hard Traveling Heroes, I really think, came at a cost specifically to Hal.
Yeah.
Right? And, he paid that price. His character paid that price for decades, I think, after that.
Well, yeah, I mean, it doesn't. John's kind of like, without coming out and saying it in Rebirth, it's kind of, Hal's inner monologue at one point is like, yeah, no more doubts, no more, no more
searching, no more road trips searching for myself. Yeah.
Basically subtly saying, oh yeah, all that was like subtle influence of Parallax and stuff. Yeah, no, classic Silver Age Hal Jordan's back,
Mm-hmm. And I, for one, am very happy about that.
Yay! Well, yeah, I think some of those guys around this era, including like Jeff Johns, hugely was like a big fan of like the classic versions of these
Barry
characters.
Allen as
Yeah.
Flash.
Oh yeah, I said a few years from now he'll bring Barry Allen back in Flash Rebirth. So,
which is good, but it doesn't pack the punch that this does, at least in my mind.
Yeah.
Even though it's the same team, right, or for the most part.
well, it's weird too because Barry Allen comes back before Flash Rebirth. He doesn't show up. Is it Final Crisis?
I can't remember.
He kind of sort of like shows up. So by the time Rebirth opens, Barry's already back, and it's basically him, trying to come up with excuses for like, oh, why has he been missing all these years?
Witness protection, I think.
It was witness protection. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you don't look like you aged.
Yeah, you didn't. It hasn't been that long. It's only been like 2 years in the last 30 years. So whatever. But this is anybody out there listening. If you have not, or watching, if you have not read this, read it. Go read it because it is truly, truly a great series.
Ray, you would like this even without the Batman punch. I know you would like this.
But that's icing on the cake. Okay?
Yes. Oh yeah, definitely for Ray. Right.
And the other thing about this is that we get a kind of a classic John Stewart, which we had been building, which, granted they had been trying to, I guess, build back up since, Emerald Twilight, right? Because we get classic Guy Gardner, but not just classic. We get a more mature Guy Gardner, which I think is really great because Guy's character really, he's not the guy of the 80s, which I think is a really good thing. He's matured and, mellowed a little bit, but, and then we get to keep Kyle. Kyle, we didn't, to bring Hal back, we didn't have to just, we didn't raise everything. This is not about, destruction. This is actually about building things up. It is really a rebirth of all of that great mythology and the core itself and, everything associated with the core. But, we didn't have to kill Kyle to do it. He gets to be a part of it as well. And
Yes.
that great scene where they shake hands, that's awesome. I think that's really, that was there, I think, so that, kind of for the fans to say, look, we're not going to crap on, and then, Sinestro was crapping all over Kyle, right? And, Hal's like, no. And, that was a really, I think, a really smart move, but, and also just a really good, story beat to have them, meeting, for kind of the first time, this is really Hal that you're meeting now, not, Parallax and, infused Hal, but, and then, not tearing down everything that came before it, but using all that stuff as raw materials to build everything back bigger and better and stronger.
Oh yeah. All right. Not to get too behind the scenes here, but next week, are you traveling? Are we going to have to delay next week?
I think we're going to have to delay next
That's
week.
That's fine.
So
kids, next week, along with our next reading along this storyline, we should have the new issue of Green Lantern to talk about next week.
Yes, that'll be awesome.
Yes. That's the only good thing about delaying it, man. Yeah, next episode we'll have the new issue, a new Green Lantern #1.
Yeah. This week and next week are freaking awesome because we get to talk about Green Lantern Rebirth this week, right?
Yep.
Next week we get a new issue of the new Green Lantern #1 with Hal, And Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom comes
Oh,
out
that's
on Friday.
right. Oh.
It is a good time to be a Green Lantern fan and a Zelda fan. So,
Guardians of the Galaxy 3 comes out this weekend.
that's right. Yeah, I almost forgot about that one too. Yeah, and so are you going to go see it?
Yes.
Okay, if and I just, this is what I expect because I know you, that if there's anything to do with Quasar, who, is very near and dear to both of our hearts, I will get a text probably either during or right after the movie.
You must go to the movie! I don't want to spoil anything. Quantum! Oh, yeah. I can't wait for Green Lantern #1 by friend of the show, Jeremy Adams, yes, who's voicing
right
at the beginning of this episode.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, so next week, along with the current Green Lantern #1, we're going to do Green Lantern, the first 6 issues of Jeff Johns' Green Lantern 1 through 6, and Secret Files and Origins 2005.
Nice.
So I think there might be a short story or 2 in there, but so yeah. All right. So anything else, William?
Man, I love this story.
I was going to say the only bad thing is every episode from here on out will never to reach the heights that tonight this storyline has. Huh?
There's just so much good Green Lantern stuff coming.
I know, yeah,
really good Green Lantern stuff.
Good era, yes.
Mm-hmm. I forgot about that Emerald Warriors, which was Guy Gardner's book. Remember that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's on the list. Yeah. Oh no. Oh no. In 2 weeks, Guy Gardner Collateral Damage 1 and 2.
I remember that one too. Yeah.
Yes. And then not too far here, we're going to be getting into Infinite Crisis.
I forget all the Crisis. The final was Grant Morrison. Infinite was not. Right?
Was it? I can't remember. Yeah, I can't remember who wrote Infinite, but it kind of brought the multiverse back.
Ish for the first time. I guess.
Yeah. Well, that wasn't Hyper Time.
Yes,
it was the true multiverse. Yes,
and so did Metal. Dark Knight Metal.
Oh yeah, they kind of destroyed the multiverse, and yes, and now everything's back and everything mattered. Yes.
And then Convergence, and I've
Convergence was before that, but yes. Well, the only good thing about Convergence is it brought back the pre New 52 Superman and Lois. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was weird for like 2 seconds. We kind of had 2 Supermen. We had pre New 52 Superman. We had New 52 Superman, and then it was weird. New 52 Superman kind of died, but then so everyone just remembers. Oh, this new Superman that no one remembers. Meanwhile, it was the old Superman, but then Mxyzptlk kind of altered reality, so the original Superman was always that Superman. I don't.
Okay.
Because this Superman who was around, the old Superman was around, and nobody remembered him. So guess who was a little paranoid of him at first, kids? He's like, we took my friend's place. Like, no. Boy, who wields paranoia as a weapon, kids?
Batman, my favorite character.
Which is funny that even Superman was affected by New 52, but Batman and Green Lantern were not.
That's right. All right, William. Anything else?
No, I just love this story.
I know you do.
A lot.
I know you do. But yes, kids, send us your thoughts on Rebirth. Although I usually don't hear any bad words about this story. So, but you can send your good thoughts. Email us CapesandLunatics@gmail.com or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And remember, you can find all things Capes and Lunatics, episodes, social media, merchandise, the Patreon. Go join the Patreon. All of it is at tubespace.io/CapesandLunatics Podcast Network. That's tubespace.io/CapesandLunatics Podcast Network. All right. Happiest man alive, Mr. Will Allred. Where can people find you, your social media, and everything to do with your works like Crossover Division and Diary of Night?
You can find me at Wallred. That's at WALLRED. That's at Gmail and Twitter and Facebook and probably other social media out there too that I might have even forgotten about. But if you want to find out about Crossover Division, which is actually on Kickstarter as we speak, if you go to crossoverdivision.com/KS or crossoverdivision.com/Kickstarter, it'll take you to the live Kickstarter project for Crossover Division Volume 1 Fictions and Other Truths hardcover, which has still got about 3 weeks left on it. So, go check that out. If you want to check out Diary of Night, you can do that at diaryofnight.com. And if you want to see me annoy another podcast host on a weekly basis, you can do that with me and Kevin Joseph. We host a show called Explain Yourself, where comic book Kickstarter creators come on and showcase their live projects, all in the hopes of expanding indie comics. It's a lot of fun, and we do it late at night on Fridays at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. And finally, you obviously have great taste because you're here listening to us talk about Green Lantern and Green Lantern Rebirth, which means you also probably love Quasar, and who doesn't? And if you want to find out more about Quasar, you can do that at the Quantum Zone, quantumzone.org.
I, of course, love Hal Jordan.
I do.
Have to go to the theme. Have to go to the theme this week.
I, of course, love Hal Jordan.
All right. Thank you, kids, for joining us for the greatest Green Lantern story of all time.
Probably.
Come back next episode for Green Lantern 1 through 6, Secret Files and Origins 2005, and Green Lantern number 1. It's been a while since we had something new to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
Ah, look what his buddy found in his locker.
Yeah, that's right. I wondered where this went.
Oh man, that's awesome. I didn't even notice the top of that before. That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, and it's also on the bottom.
All right, kids, come back next time, and remember, he's back. Guess who's back?
It's Hal.
Tell your friend.